CNF Worldwide for nomads everywhere.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Rick Carter, CNF Worldwide. And this afternoon, we are in Rocky Mount, North Carolina at Rocky Mount Mills at the Craft Brewery Incubator here with Miss Briana Brake, CEO and brewmaster of Spaceway Brewing, Harlem South. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Hey, thanks for squeezing us in, man. This came up pretty fast. We met you.
Yeah.
Checked out your beers yesterday and said you got a few minutes for us, and you said, yeah, come on over. So here we are.
Welcome.
So, there's some really cool stuff happening here, Rocky Mount, especially here at Rocky Mount Mills. So you're part of this new brewery incubator here,
Right.
where they got 4 breweries right here in the building, and you guys have.
Well, there's 3 right now.
Yeah, and there's a space for a 4th, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you guys all have your own 10-barrel systems in here that you're
Right.
leasing.
Yeah.
Shared canning and kegging and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna back up from all that here and go, how did Briana get started in the brewing business?
Started out home brewing. I was just a hobby, something to do. Actually, I started out making ginger beer, fermenting directly in the bottles, and my bottles started exploding on me, and I was scared of the room where my bottles were. So I started thinking about the fermentation process and what does that mean, and just did some research and stumbled across some articles about home brewing.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I drink beer. If I make beer instead of ginger beer, then I have a whole bunch of beer, and I don't have to go.
You have to go buy beer.
I don't have to go buy beer. So, and I was going around to a lot of the craft breweries that were opening up, and I thought it was just a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I would taste the beers and say, you know what, I can make something that tastes like that or better than that. And so that's how I got started.
And so you're originally from over like Raleigh or Durham?
I'm from Durham.
Yeah. So, I mean, and North Carolina is one of the states on the East Coast where the brew scene's like really hopping with Asheville. And, we checked out some places in Durham today. So, I believe you told me yesterday, though, you started out, when you decided to start doing this, you were in law school.
Yeah.
So you were on the track to become an attorney.
Yeah.
And then what made you go, you know what, I'd rather do the beer thing?
I like the learning, and I love to learn. I love to read. I like that aspect of the law, but I realized, I guess halfway in, that I really didn't want to do that. And brewing had become like a passion for me. So for me, it was just a matter of how do I do that professionally,
So did you find yourself in your spare time all the time thinking about how would I do this kind of beer, how would I do that kind of beer?
Oh yeah, I had my home brew equipment started growing. Like my kitchen was just homebrew stuff. It was all over the place, and then I found myself buying a mini fridge so I could turn it into a fermentation chamber and all this kind of stuff. I really got obsessed. And
see, everywhere we go, all these brewers, we're hearing this same story. I almost feel like I ought to start a support group for y'all.
Really,
you all can have like
in their lives that have to put up with that, because telling my mom that I was not going back to law school. And
how was that conversation?
She thought I was nuts for a long time. She's on board now, but yeah, that was a rough, actually, few months. She was like, what are you talking about? She would come over to my house and see all that equipment, and she, smell that I've been making the beer, and she still just didn't really get it, But finally got her on board, and she's all in now. So.
All right, mom. Mom like the beers?
Oh, that's another thing. I got her drinking craft beer now, because
she didn't before?
Nah, before she was Heineken all day. I'm like, Mom, please stop. Drink.
Sorry, Mom, we're outing you to the public here.
Yeah, she knows. Yeah, she loves the Paper Chaser New England IPA now. I can't get her on the hoppier side of IPAs, but she's branching out and trying
incremental steps.
Yeah.
We'll get her there.
Yeah.
So you're in law school, you're doing all this home brewing, you decide that you'd rather try to brew beer for a living. So how did you get from there to being part of the incubator here at Rocky Mount Mills?
Well, I started doing research, just trying to find out if there was anybody anywhere that looked like me that was doing this, and was I just crazy for thinking that there was, that I could do this, or there was a space for me. And the first person that came up was Celeste Beatty of Harlem Brewing. So read the article about her, got really, really excited because I realized she went to Shaw University. She's from North Carolina. I'm like, I'm from North Carolina. I'm black. I can do this.
So
She's been doing this for a while, so I got super excited.
So there's somebody who already started to blaze the trail.
Right.
So you knew it could be done.
Right. So I told one of my best friends about it, and she runs a nonprofit organization for the mentors students coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing a Shark Tank entrepreneurship pitch thing with the students over at Shaw University.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her, she was like, oh, she went to Shaw. I'm going to invite her to come and be on this panel of judges for, the students. I said, whatever, okay. I'm like, oh yeah, she doesn't have time for you. And then, like maybe a month later, she gives me a call and was like, get your butt out here. She's here. So I hightailed it to Raleigh, out to Shaw, and me and Celeste met. We hit it off instantly. She was at my house the next day helping me homebrew.
Wow.
And so from then on, she knew that I was interested in trying to figure out a way to do it. I was looking to do it in Durham. So she was, keeping in touch with me. And then the people from Capital Broadcasting reached out to her about this space. And she said, well, why don't we go in together on the space? Because, she wants to keep her presence in Harlem.
Right.
But she's from here, so she also wants to have a presence in North Carolina. So I'm like, yeah, that would be dumb for me to say no. Like, of course, rent the space, rent the equipment. And I get to work with my hero, so yeah.
So I was gonna say, so like that when you first met her, and then she's come to homebrew with you the next day. Mm-hmm. Was that like intimidating?
Yeah, cause like, oh my gosh, she's gonna see how wrong I'm.
How much I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna think I'm stupid. But no, she was there. She answered all my questions. She didn't make me feel dumb.
But did she see herself years ago?
Yeah, she was like, yeah, I had this pot. I had this, this is exactly what I was doing. Like, so.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So then what did you think when you get the call from her going, you want to come do this over here? You're like,
well, at first I was like, Rocky Mount? I didn't really know anything. The only thing, I know my grandparents were from here, but they were in Philadelphia all my life. So I didn't really know anything about the area. And she said, well, just go check the place out. Because they had described it to me, and I was like, okay, that sounds cool. And I knew that it was Capital Broadcasting who had done the ballpark in Durham and the tobacco.
It's beautiful over there what they did.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, let me go check it out. And then I got here and I was like, wow, this is, they couldn't have described this to me. I had to come and see it for myself.
And you walked in here and you saw the kind of setup that was here. And you were probably thinking, as you're home there brewing at your house, that this was years away for you.
Yeah, I was thinking, years and years away.
Then all of a sudden, it's in your grasp.
Right.
How'd that feel?
Scary, but just exciting. I mean, it's pretty intimidating to go from 5-gallon batches of beer to 360 or so gallons, and so it was scary, but I was determined that I'm going to figure this out. Yeah.
So how was the transition for taking like the recipes you were working on into 5-gallon batches and scaling them up to brew 360 gallons at a time?
Yeah, that's been a challenge. I mean, there's software out there that'll do that for you, but it still doesn't scale everything exactly. So there's been some trial and error trying to figure out exactly the best way to go about getting the recipes to taste like they were when I was initially brewing them. And so far, I think I've gotten pretty close.
Yeah, well, you pretty much know the first one you brew. Mm-hmm. Probably, if you nail it the first time, you should just drop the mic and walk off, because nobody does that when you scale the first time.
Right. But yeah, it's just been a little, and actually the first time that I did like the Don Dada, it turned out pretty much like what I was doing at home.
That's good. That's awesome.
A little different, but yeah. So I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out.
So you go back to Celeste, you go, yeah, I'll do it?
Oh, yeah.
So then from the time that she contacted
I called her, while I was here, I was like, oh, yeah.
You called her back?
Yep.
So how long from that phone call till you were in here brewing the first batch of beer?
See, that call, we were in Durham. It was 2017, like around April 2017.
So 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, so that's when I first heard about it. And then I was out here to see the place probably May or June. And so from that, and then we opened in November of 2018.
2018. So you guys been open here now, what, like
About 6 months.
6 months? So how's it going so far?
Good. Now it's starting to pick up. I mean, we started in November, which is like the winter,
Yeah.
and it's cold, and we got a lot of, it was rainy and cold a lot this winter. And the side that I'm on right now is like, if you see the courtyard out here, it's been mostly construction for the most part. So people didn't even really know that I was back here.
Right.
So now that the weather's warming up, more people are starting to come out. People are seeing that I'm back here. They're getting the courtyard going. We got, events and stuff coming up. So it's picking up.
And you're sitting here at a place where this complex isn't even completely finished yet.
Right.
But here in a few months, I mean, you've got condos here, apartments, you got office space, you got the tiny house rentals that are going to be coming out here. This is going to be like a destination.
Yeah, this is a village, like
weekend.
a town within itself. You stay at the hotel and then come to the restaurants and the breweries. You can make a whole.
So when this is fully built out and rented out, there are going to be a couple, 3,000 people moving around this property every day.
Yep.
And a lot of them are going to be walking out of this building here, and one of the first things they're going to see is the building where your brewery's at.
I'm looking forward to that.
So things are looking good. Nice. So let's step back to something. You started, looking into doing this. You made a statement about trying to see if there were people who look like me doing this kind of thing. What kind of obstacles, barriers have you encountered as a woman and as a minority, or that you think are maybe hindering other people from getting involved in the craft beer industry?
I think a lot of it is just the environment. It's a lot of the breweries, the craft breweries. They're cool places to hang out, but they kind of do the same things. They have the same type of events, the same type of music. And I know when speaking to people, other Black people, about why don't y'all come hang out at the breweries? They got great beer. It's fun. I love it. I'm trying to get you guys in on this. And they're like, well, I go to these places and it just doesn't feel like it's for me. Like there's not, the music that's playing there, the whole, the crowd, the environment. There's just, there's nothing there that I can really relate to aside from the beer.
Right.
And they're like, well, I can go buy some beer and go home and, go hang out at a friend's house. So that's what, because Black people are drinking beer and they're becoming more aware of the craft beer industry. But it's taken some steps to try to get us actually out to hang out at a brewery.
Because you make a good point, because there's a couple different kinds of craft breweries now. I mean, probably several kinds. There are people that are brewing that are purely for distribution, and they got a tasting room just because they feel like they have to.
Right.
But their real thing is they want to crank out beer and they want to ship it out to bars and restaurants, and that's that. And then, of course, everybody, regardless of your heritage or origin, you can go out to a restaurant and enjoy the beer.
Right.
And then you got people who are trying to do a little bit of, hey, come to my tap room and some distribution. But increasingly, and I would say the highest volume of brewers that we are seeing are local destination breweries. We're the neighborhood brewery, or we're in a place like this where the locals are going to come in and people are going to come in off I-95 or whatever and stop in here. So when it comes to a destination brewery, it isn't just about the beer anymore, is it?
Yeah, no, it's about the whole experience.
Yeah. So, and I would have to echo what you're saying. Most of the breweries we go to, there's a certain vibe, certain culture, and it's not necessarily Black culture.
Right.
And so if we're going to grow craft beer as destinations where there are more minority and more female ownership, what kind of things can we do to make that happen?
Definitely going out into communities, the minority communities, letting people know that this is an opportunity, having more workers, when people come in, they see more people that are more, that do look like them, and that maybe reflects what they're comfortable in, their environment that they're comfortable in, different events, the type of music that's playing, definitely, the type of, a lot of these places they have, they might have a live band or something. Don't just get bluegrass artists all the time. I mean, bluegrass is cool, but...
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, we don't do that.
Sorry, bluegrass. It's not my thing. We're going to be honest here.
Yeah, I mean...
So, and you talked, about your path into being a part of this brewery here. Just honest, straight ahead question. If it were not for Celeste and not for Capital contacting her, would you have been able to afford to set up a shop like this anytime soon?
Nope.
So,
No.
So, I mean, I'm going to go especially because we're from Baltimore. I mean, we live in the city, and our problems are well documented and ongoing in that town. But it would seem to me that finance
That's the
for people in urban communities and stuff like that, and less financially affluent communities to get this started. And let's be honest, the cost to do this on any kind of commercial scale is significant.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would have had to buy a building and all this equipment, and that's just, I was nowhere near prepared to do that.
And having interviewed the gentleman who designed this, I mean, just the rig in your room here is like $250,000. Not to mention the shared capacity for canning and the kegging stuff next door. So you're looking something here that would easily, plus the building, set you back $500,000 to get it off the ground.
Yep.
So in order for us to make progress on with females and minority breweries and things like that, we're going to need to find new funding sources or mechanisms for people to invest in those communities. And I ask these questions because I firmly believe that the craft beer industry has done a lot of good in the past 40 years. And it's not just the breweries, it's all the ancillary stuff, the farmers, the guys growing the grains, the malt companies, the hop companies, the people doing bottles and labels and graphic design and all this stuff. It's creating all this stuff. But it's only really going to have a long-term tangible benefit to the whole country if everybody can participate.
Exactly.
So we're looking for ideas of things that can happen to help introduce this to all segments of society and help them participate and get funding to start breweries and that kind of thing.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be more capital opened up for people trying to start this kind of business. There are a lot of programs for women and minorities, but a lot of them won't touch beer or they won't touch alcohol. So, trying to find a way around those types of things and finding creative ways of raising money.
So like for government grants and things like that. Because I find it interesting here and I find it encouraging here that you've got a county-run community college that's actually teaching courses in brewing and distilling and fermenting, and they've actually got a classroom here on site.
Right.
I also find it encouraging in talking to the guys at Epiphany Malt today that there were some agricultural grant money available to them to help do that. And we recently did an interview at Cape Charles Brewing in Cape Charles, Virginia, not all that far from here, about maybe 3-hour drive. And the state of Virginia had agricultural and agritourism money available to help them build their brewery because they're trying to help the farming communities. But I hear what you're saying about a lot of government agencies and other nonprofit organizations don't want to touch alcohol because of whatever perceptions. But it's probably going to be hard to get a grant in the inner city Baltimore for agribusiness. It's how we're going to sell. My sell pitch would be, these guys are going to brew beer, they're going to use hops, they're going to use grains, so somewhere somebody's growing it, so they're helping farmers, so can you help us out? But where do you think this can go as far as black-owned breweries? And that's kind of how we got to this whole thing here, because we're trying to do some pieces in our publications on female-owned breweries, black-owned breweries, and we were having decent luck finding breweries that were run by women and that had women doing the brewing. I'll confess to you, sitting here as a late middle-aged white guy, that I was a bit shocked at how much difficulty we had finding any breweries that were owned and operated and the head brewers were black. It was extremely difficult.
There's not many.
And perhaps our perception was askew because, like, one of the biggest breweries in Baltimore that's been in business for 6 going on 7 years now, the head brewer is a black guy who's phenomenal.
Really?
So it just never occurred to me that there weren't more of him around.
Right.
And
yeah, there's just not. I mean, our communities aren't really. People in the community aren't really even aware that this industry is a possibility, because when people think of craft beer, they think of bearded white dudes with flannel shirts and it's just,
and beards.
I'm working on mine.
Nice. You got some flash.
Yeah, I'm gonna trick everybody.
Oh God, it's funny. I was gonna say, now I lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
now.
I'm sorry,
You're good. You're good. But what I'm hearing from you, though, is the black community, if exposed to this beer and this type of atmosphere, you think we could definitely grow this?
Oh yeah, since I've started doing this, I've had so many people, like especially like college students, just reaching out like, how can I participate? I'm amazed at what you're doing. I want to participate, even if it's not. I want to make beer, but my family has a farm, and we want to learn we want to grow hops. We want to grow the ingredients that you need.
Awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
You know, stuff like that. Just making people aware that this is a thing, and then all the different opportunities that come along with it. So we could get it out there.
Well, we're going to push it out there. So, people who are interested in what you're doing here at Spaceway with Harlem South and what Celeste is doing up in Harlem, where can they find out more information about what's happening here at Spaceway Brewing?
Right now, I'd say go to the Rocky Mount Brewery website, because Rocky Mount Brewery is the collaboration between Spaceway and Harlem Brewing. So the Rocky Mount Brewery website will have most of our information right now.
Right. You guys on Facebook and all that stuff,
and Facebook
all that stuff too.
Instagram, I'm posting, events and everything.
Right, and you're brewing here right now at Rocky Mount Mills.
Right now, this is
and what hours is your tap room open here?
Thursday and Friday from 5 to 10. Saturday 12 to 10. Sunday 2 to 7.
Any big events, craft beer festivals, or anything coming up where people can come taste your beers?
We've got a few events that we're planning. Nothing. I don't have any dates solid yet, but we've got a couple of things coming up next month and into the summer. So you'll be hearing more.
So if they check Rocky Mount Brewing, they check your Facebook page
and
Instagram. And I know if you come to Rocky Mount Mills website, it has links to the brewery, so they can get through that to get back to you guys. So anything, if you could say anything to the public about what's happening here at Spaceway and what's happening with Harlem South and Rocky Mount, what would you tell them?
Man, we're out here doing cool things. We're making good ass beer. Trying to make award-winning beer, and trying to get more people that don't feel like this is a place for them to hang out, to know that this is the spot. Come hang out. Come check us out.
And I should have asked you this earlier. I'm going to ask you now anyway. Do you feel like with what's going on now in the, I'm going to call it like the artisan hospitality industry in general, with craft beer, with distilling, people doing kombucha, coffees and all these other different things, that there's a world of creativity out here where basically anybody, regardless of sex, religion, color, whatever, there's a place for you to, it's almost like art. There's a place for you to come out here and say, I've whipped this thing up and this is how I express myself through liquid. There's something for everybody that they could do out here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, come out here and find your thing and
do your thing, share it with the world.
Yep.
So there, you got it. Briana Break, Spaceway Brewing, Rocky Mount Mills. Come to Rocky Mount Mills website, Rocky Mount Brewery, Spaceway, Harlem Brewing. Check out Briana. Check out Celeste. Come to Rocky Mount this summer. Come to the incubator. Check out all the brewers, especially this one, and she'll be here to tell you all about it. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you.
CNF Worldwide for nomads everywhere.
This broadcast was produced by CNF Limited for nomads everywhere. The contents of this broadcast are the property of CNF Limited. All rights are reserved. For more information about CNF publications, contact us at 305-707-4024. Find us on the web at cnfltd.com.